with the Houston Rockets. They were able to make the trade also for DeAnthony Milton. So, again, this is right in line. This is textbook. This deal probably was agreed upon verbally probably a week or two ago, and it was just a matter of time before they were going to get it finalized. But this gave Philadelphia cap space to go out and sign the defensive stopper and P.J. Tucker while retaining James Harden and giving him an opportunity to work out with Joel Embiid in the offseason so that those guys can come back 100% with a better team and a more experienced team, and a guy in P.J. Tucker that won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. To get him in the fold, this was a solid negotiations between the Philadelphia 76ers and James Harden.
And again, it is for 2 years with a player option. Coach, what do you think of that? What the 2 years with that option, what does that tell you?
Well, that just tells me that basically, it gave both the player and the team flexibility moving forward by the time you get to that option year. And, you'll figure out at that time, does he pick up his option and or opt out and give the Philadelphia 76ers even more flexibility. So this is about flexibility moving forward. This is a partnership between James Harden in the organization. This is what it's all about. They both have what we called in business or sports shared values. They want to arrive at the same goal, which is a championship. And the best way to get there is for James Harden to have taken somewhat of a pay cut to create room to bring in even more supporting cast. And it's not only supporting cast, but supporting cast who he's very familiar with.
You mentioned it, too. They're picking up the defensive end, being able to keep Tucker and House. And as you said it there, Coach, they're trying to play for a championship. How does this pick up where they left off losing in that Game 6?
Well, again, when you look at it specifically P.J. Tucker, everywhere he's gone over the last 2 years, he's won a championship with Milwaukee. Then he goes to the Eastern Conference Finals with Miami. And, Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 against Boston. Now he's bringing that same energy to Philadelphia to help James Harden, who's not the best on the defensive end. So he's bringing that winning mentality, that deep playoff experience mentality, and he's reuniting with a guy in James Harden who he's played with when James Harden was at the pinnacle of his career. So I think the motivating part is trying to motivate and provide that leadership to help James Harden maybe not get back to where he was scoring 40 points and 16 assists, but get to that elite status. And that's why they really needed P.J. Tucker, not just for on-the-court defense, knocking out corner threes, but for his leadership.
We're seeing here now notable contract situations there for the 76ers. Avery, as you look at what this team is trying to achieve, is there any missing pieces that they need to continue to add on, or is this piece locking up James Harden, you think, going to be able to get them over that hump as they look ahead?
Well, I think, another veteran wing player, coming off the bench, could be a benefit to him. You can't have enough wing players because you got to remember, in the Eastern Conference, you still have to deal with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart. Obviously, Boston traded for Malcolm Brogdon. You got to deal with those guys. Those are series wing players. With Miami, you got to deal with Jimmy Butler. So with all of these different teams, Milwaukee, Middleton, Drew Holiday, obviously Giannis is a handful, but you got to have depth at the wing position, especially to get you through the regular season. And just in case there are some injuries in the playoffs or if somebody's not playing well, you got to be able to go to the next man up. So that depth at the wing position, we saw it with the Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson, Wiggins, very deep Jordan Poole. You got to have quality wing players. So if they can add one more quality wing player to go along with DeAnthony Milton, who's coming off the bench, I think that'll be very beneficial for them.
All right, that's Avery Johnson there with us. We appreciate your insight as James Harden agreeing to a 2-year, $68.6 million deal to return to the 76ers. Alabama, the favorite, -140. Second best odds going to Georgia, +140. Then talk about value with Texas A&M, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Kentucky running out the top 6 best odds. All right, let's hear from UGA head coach Kirby Smart and quarterback Stetson Bennett.
Well, there's no adjective I can put on it. You know, it's incredible, it's awesome, it's unique, but it's over too, and it's time to get focused on this year. And I feel like there's a lot of our fan base has used that as a kind of a, you know, for them it's been an opportunity to kind of brag and boast. For us, it's just been an opportunity to get work on the next one. I like to tell people we were sustaining success before we won it. We just hadn't won it. You know, we had had 5 straight top 7 years. I look at those as successful seasons. I don't look at them as national championship seasons, and we certainly fell short a couple times. But it hasn't changed dramatically for us because we're really not that far from where we were. We're just 2-3 spots above it. So yeah, does it make a lot of pat on the backs? Yeah, but I've told our players every time they're patting on your back, next year that could be a knife. You better get ready, and you better get ready for a tough season. Anytime
you can be viewed as a leader, especially to that many people, you know, it's a responsibility and it's an honor for them to view you in that way. And I think it's a testament to how, you know, you've worked over however many years it's taken you to get there. And yeah, it's, you know, there's extra expectations, but you know that's how you want it once you get to that spot, right? I don't know. It's been very, you know, rewarding, and you learn a lot of stuff because when you're in that position, you got to listen to the guys too. You know, you can't just do your own thing and expect them to follow. You got to listen to, you know, what they're thinking and how they want to run their routes, or how they, you know, want to do something different, and you know, hopefully, you know, take that into account and just do what's best for the team.
All right, here's a look at the odds of how Vegas thinks the East and West will shake out. Georgia and Alabama still your favorites to play in the SEC championship game at the end of the year. Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss second and third respectively there in their divisions. Here's our Dennis Dodd and Barrett Salih from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame.
Day 3 of SEC Media Days in the books here from Atlanta. The defending national champions took the stage this morning, and it was all about how can Georgia repeat. Remember, it's been 41 years between 1980 and 2021. Georgia finally got it done, but 15 players off that team are gone. It sounds to me like the number of players that are gone actually is a blessing in disguise for Georgia, because, yeah, they won a title. They didn't necessarily win it with all of these guys contributing. So I think that aspect of where Kirby Smart's program is really important moving forward.
I totally agree with that. Guys like Nolan Smith Jr., the linebacker, now becomes a leader and a big-time player on that defense. Stetson Bennett goes from looking over his shoulder to, let's admit it, an asset. I mean, he's cleared every hurdle you've had, every question you've had about him. And I think the players that are stepping up have a chip on their shoulders that they can do it again. And I've already mentioned they're going to start in the top 4. If they finish the season with less than 2 losses, they're going to end in the top 4. They've got credibility with the committee. I think in any other year, this would be looked at as a loaded team. That was a generational team last year, and I definitely think they can get back.
Yeah, it's all about sustaining success. And I think for Kirby Smart, being around Nick Saban for as long as he was, taught him a lot about how to approach sustaining success as a head coach. And I asked him, you know, you've rehearsed this in your mind so many times. How do you go about implementing it? And he said he's got the right staff around him, and he's got the right leaders around him, including Nolan Smith and Stetson Bennett. We talked to Florida on Wednesday as well. Billy Napier, coming in from Louisiana, had tons of success in Lafayette, turning that program around into a consistent winner. He's got a quarterback in Anthony Richardson, who I think everybody thinks can be an absolute stud once he gets rolling. It's an interesting time in Florida. Depth, an issue. Not an issue, the issue at Florida. They haven't necessarily fixed that quite yet, but if they get some production from Anthony Richardson on the ground, this offense, because we know Billy Napier can coach offense, could be really tough.
Yeah, after Dan Mullen last year, Florida needed normal. It got normal with Billy Napier. Now they just need to go out and win games. He's proven it at Louisiana. He's one of the original, one of the OGs of Nick Saban's coaching tree way back when in 2011.